welcome to Good Morning LaLa Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jess Moyer. This is Good Morning LaLa Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now on Twitter. Good Morning LaLa Land.
Today is all about Thought Thursday, and we're actually going to talk about Earth Day. Even though it's Sunday, we've decided today is our Earth Day because we're going to celebrate it from now on. So we're going to talk about how you can be the change for Earth Day. We're going to talk with two amazing, extraordinary people about a gift that keeps on giving, and we're going to have a little TED Talker talking about the power of seduction.
Good day.
Right?
Yeah. Hashtag Thought Thursday. It's all about conscious giving, and I couldn't be more excited. Behind me is a mulberry tree, you guys. I am so excited. When these fruit trees arrived in the studio, it was like Christmas in April for me. So the creators of Plantogram are actually here in the studio today. Good morning, Vicki and Nikki Puppet. We are so excited to have you.
Good morning, guys.
Welcome to the show.
Back there.
So excited to be here.
We look so exotic now, thank you to these plantograms.
It looks like we have like accessories that we decided to like throw some accessories around the studio. It looks amazing.
They look really cool.
You've really dressed up the set. So what's back there with you?
So we've got a mango tree, cotton candy mango tree.
Wow.
And then we've got, what is that one?
A dwarf avocado tree called the Utuado. So it can stay in a container and still make, as you see, avocados.
Loads and loads of fruits.
Loads and loads of fruits. And I can't believe these little trees actually arrived in that super cute, huge box back there, by the way. And it already has fruit on them. There were baby mangoes.
Already has baby mangoes.
And baby
little
avocados.
Baby avocados coming up on there.
I've got baby mulberries right here.
Yeah.
What I love about this is truly is one of the only gifts that keeps on giving, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So here at Good Morning LaLa Land, we like to know, how do you start your day? Tell me you're picking fruit off your fruit trees.
So when I start my day, I like to start my day around my family first. I feel starting my day around my family gets me off to the right note, positive, moving forward, and then getting out there and being with these trees and being around them. My energy comes off onto the trees and so forth like that. That's the way we both like to start our day.
Yeah, I usually start off by making breakfast for my wife and the kids.
Breakfast for me.
So we spend a little bit of family time in the morning before we start work. We do homeschool our kids as well.
We homeschool our children, so we do get to spend more time with them as well.
So we have a little morning routine, yeah.
That's so special. So where is home for you?
Orlando, Florida.
Oh, shout out to Orlando, Florida, and the kids watching at home.
So cute. We were FaceTiming them earlier. So, hi you guys. Good afternoon. Almost.
They love it. So home, Sana, Mom loves you.
Yes. So what brings you all the way to Los Angeles?
Well, we're here. We support Race to Race MS every single year. Nancy Davis, she's going to find a cure to help finish and erase MS, like she said. So we provided two beautiful, amazing orchards this year. It's the 25th anniversary, putting out beautiful trees, beautiful, things you can't really find going into the stores and so forth like that. We try to have and house the rare of the rare. So putting these out there, it's positive vibes, seeing people go towards them and wanting to bid on them. It's amazing every year.
Yeah, we also have a tree on the website called the Star Fruit that 20% of the proceeds goes towards the Race to Race MS Foundation as well.
Oh, that's so special. Well, thank you again for being with us today. We're excited to talk to you more later in the show.
So
definitely.
nice. So many gifts coming in the house. We want to give a shout out to Holstein Water, who actually sent us 2 huge 5 gallons of water from Austria today. And I'm actually going to be interviewing Elizabeth this afternoon at Bumble Hive, telling about their story. It's like been a 16-year journey, them finding the water over in Austria as a family. They just wanted better water for their own family, and ended up, buying an entire, I guess you call it a well or whatever, but they had to drill for it and find it forever. I don't know if you can see it, but it's behind me right here, this beautiful 5 gallon, and we're going to try it out and give you the feedback on it.
Holstein is keeping us hydrated.
Yeah, I thought I knew something about water until I met them.
Right?
They really are experts. Yeah, 16 years in the making, with this water, and it's just fascinating to learn all the things that I didn't know about water.
Right?
Yeah,
And we take it for granted. Like, water is just such a key part of life, and if we don't preserve water, we're gonna have problems, people.
Yeah, speaking of, it was raining this morning in Los Angeles. I woke up, I was actually really surprised by that. It's funny how in LA because every day is typically very sunny. Weather is like shocking. What is happening? Is there a sprinkler on? No, it's actually just raining.
Felt the reverse of that when I lived in Pittsburgh. I was like, what is that big, round, yellow object in the sky? It's a sun. It's the sun. So it's not so nice being in LA where the rain is a surprise instead of the sunshine.
It is, and there's some very exciting things you can do here in Los Angeles this weekend to celebrate Earth Day, which is coming up on April 22nd. There's 14 ways you can go on eventbrite.com just to highlight a few. There's an Earth Day festival actually downtown at Grand Park. There's a beach cleanup happening all across the coast, especially here in Santa Monica, and a film festival actually happening at La Malaise Monica Film Center.
There's like 20 or 50 of them I was looking up on Eventbrite. So anything you want to do this weekend and educate yourself, have fun with Earth Day, and
or order a fruit tree and plant it in your backyard.
But you can join us today at Bumble Hive. It's up on Melrose Place. It's actually you can look up on their website, or it's at 8441 Melrose Place. I'll be interviewing her today at 5:30. So get a seat, get there by 5 probably, I'd say. Yeah.
Awesome. That's exciting.
It's all free. Good stuff.
Good, yeah. If you're not heading to Coachella, there's a lot of stuff going in. Always in LA.
If you're not heading to Coachella. Anywhere else in the world is watching it. They think actually Coachella is close to LA. One, it's like a 6-hour drive because of traffic, right?
It's an investment.
It is a serious investment. We won't be there.
No Chella here.
Hashtag no Chella, LA
Wait,
Chella.
So is it still going on?
It's 2 weekends.
Oh, Erin,
I
it's 2 weekends.
am so out of the loop, I swear, I really am. I've got to get back into, I have no idea. All I know is that we're green for today because we're celebrating. That's as far as my mind has gone for the day.
That's as far as it needs to go. That's as far as it needs to go. Yeah.
I'm really excited because later in the show, a dear friend of mine, Hen Lisa, was in the studio, and she was visiting LA for a very special interview with Lewis House. Her recent episode of The School of Greatness was just released 3 days ago, and so we have an interview with her about somatic intelligence. Have you heard what this is?
No.
So it's combining these 5 elements of intention, elegance, sombroso, she says it much sexier, right? Mystery and tempo, and she almost explains it as dials, right? So if you turn up a little of this and a little of that to really own and embrace your femininity and live in a very conscious way. She's got a great TED Talk on the power of seduction, and really after my conversation with her, I'm viewing this a whole new way.
Wow.
She's such a fascinating person.
Lewis House, wow, he's just like taken off. He's everywhere. His podcast is done extremely well. NFL?
Yeah,
player?
It was Arena Football League.
Okay, yeah, he's done so well. But, I mean, I don't know anyone that doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, he's huge. Talks a lot about vulnerability in men. So he wrote a couple books, Masculine Vulnerability. He originally started out really talking about LinkedIn and how to use it effectively. But he's a pretty fascinating guy. So those two teaming up is just going to be fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So excited. Well, let's take a little break. When we come back, we're going to actually talk about Earth Day. What's going on? How can you be the change that you want to see in the world? So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to This Week in Focus. My name is Victoria Simone, associate producer here at Focus TV Network, America's first live streaming daily talk show network, with my girl, Jez Moye
of Good Morning LaLa Land. Tell me, what was This Week in Focus?
So last week on the Focus TV Network, we had the Rose Girls with special guest Dana Ward. We had Live It with Tanya Memory Robert Ferguson, and on that show was Jeannie Buss,
owner of the Lakers here in West Hollywood at the Focus TV studios.
Ali Landry came in and showed us some special, hot, sexy red lips. Aside from our normal lineup, we had Good Morning LaLa Land, Jez, who was on that show.
Jennifer Jane, creator of the Society Gal, the Manifestation Babe herself, Tracy Tudor Maltese of $1 Million Listing, and Mr. Mark Teschner making dreams a reality on General Hospital.
Thanks for tuning in to This Week in Focus. Jez, thanks for helping me out.
I'm Jez Moye, co-host of Good Morning LaLa Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show with my girl, Victoria Simone.
What?
This was This Week in LaLa Land. On Monday, we had Society Gal creator Jennifer Jaden. We also featured the Manifestation Babe, Catherine Zemkina, Tracy Tudor Maltese of the $1 Million Listing, and Ali Landry with Reshape, and of course, Mr. Mark Teschner, casting director of General Hospital, making our dreams a reality.
Thanks for tuning in to This Week in LaLa Land. I'm Victoria Simone. Jez,
it's going to be a good morning.
Bye-bye.
I feel like we need our moment.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to do it.
I had a moment
where I said Good Morning America in my head. I really didn't know we were going to film it today. I feel like you could see my nipples. Russian cabbage soup. No, just nipples. Any excuse for me to invite those boys. For a short price of $7,995, you two can sit and chat with us. I guess that was a really close guess. This is magic.
Wardrobe change.
Wait, was it the wrong way?
You know who has an extra bed for me?
ABC! Andy, do we have a microphone?
There she is, get it! Ricky Rattle style.
Let's touch my hair.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa Land. We're celebrating a little pre-Earth Day here in the studio. We have two very special guests, Vicki and Mickey Poppin in the house. Good morning, Vicki and Mickey, the founders of
Good morning.
Good
morning, guys.
Good morning.
Looks like a jungle back there. I am so excited. So in honor of Earth Day, I'm wondering, is there something special besides, you know, obviously this plantogram and the fruit trees that you do with your children to really get them involved in Earth Day and giving back?
Giving back, Earth Day with our kids. You know, my kids love to be around the trees. At our own home, we have maybe, how many trees?
Probably about 250 types of fruit trees from around the world.
Exactly.
50?
Wow.
Yeah,
in our own personal
it's like a jungle in the
It's
backyard.
like a huge jungle, but to see my kids be able to go around, climb on these trees barefoot and grab fruit and, you know, just eat from these trees. It's just amazing.
Like the mulberry tree that we have back there makes fruit almost throughout the spring and summer. It's ever-bearing. So, you know, almost throughout the spring and summer, they can go out every couple of days. They can go and pick fruit. So
My daughter, our daughter, when she just started walking, we took her out there with a bowl, but she said she didn't need the bowl. She threw the bowl aside and she just started picking
and eating.
And eating directly off the tree.
Wow.
So
It's the
cute.
best.
It's so beautiful. I love that family dynamic. One of my favorite memories was actually going blueberry picking in the summers with my Aunt Polly and my Aunt Cindy and my Granny, and we tied buckets around our waist and picked blueberries.
Oh, yeah.
There's something just so beautiful about spending time with Mother Nature like that and the bond it creates between you and your children.
It is.
And gardening's a good time for people to spend time as a family together. It gives you a chance to, you know, be outdoors and spend time as a family as well.
My kids love saving and planting anything they can find and plant. And if you can't find them in the house, you'll probably find them outside under one of the trees, doing something, making mud pies, being a kid outdoors, you know?
I feel
Not
like
so much with their iPad.
Exactly. Your yard is the perfect place to play hide and seek. 250 trees.
Right?
I will be up in one of those. Well, thank you again so much for being here today. We're excited to talk to you more later in the show.
So excited. Couldn't bring on a better couple for today to celebrate Earth Day. So Earth Day is actually on Sunday. It's on the 22nd, but we wanted to take some time, since we're not going to be here on Sunday, and honor this day. The day started in 1970, actually by Gaylord Nelson. He was actually a U.S. Senator. And I want to give a shout out also to Denis Hays, who was the first organizer. So it began here in America, and then it went around 1990, it went across the world. We have 192 countries now celebrating Earth Day. So what is Earth Day, and how can we be the change that we want to see in the world, right? So they actually have a great YouTube, like a 3-minute thing today. You can Google it. If you go to also earthday.org, and it gives you, you know, how you can commit to making a difference in the world, because it's really about recycling, using less plastics, and cleaning up the oceans. Did you guys know that they predict by 2050 there'll be more plastic in the ocean than fish?
That's unreal.
It's ridiculous.
It's unreal. Yeah.
Right? And there's this thing, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a big amount of plastics and trash out in the middle of the ocean that's as large as like the state of Texas. It's so sad.
That's incredible. I love that Earth Day, you know, it's a commitment that has been made and been kept. It's the largest environmental movement in the world. So it says a lot about, you know, people's investment in keeping our planet clean and like hospitable,
Right?
basically, yeah.
And it says that when plastics are used, 50% of them are only used one time and then thrown away. So, you know, for me personally, I try and use as little plastics as possible. Plus, it's toxic for our bodies. So even, you know, if we can buy even glass containers to store our food in instead of plastic, the plastic, it leaks into our food.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
No bueno.
Always go to recycle. I'm a huge proponent of recycling. I get recycle guilt if you have to throw away the empty water bottle. It's like, no, I can't. I can't, especially if it has water in it. I'll go and water a tree and then take it with me and find some place to recycle. So I'll have like 5 water bottles in my car because I'm like, I have to recycle these. I'm kind of obsessed about it.
Right? So the theme every year for Earth Day, there's a different theme. This theme is End Plastic Pollution, which is so important. But I think there's all kinds of ways. For example, I am addicted to the secondhand designer stores for clothes because as women, or men too, we consume a lot of things, right? And all those things take, you know, they hurt the environment in so many ways. So I'm a proponent of doing things like rent the runway, or if there's people that we can recycle our clothes or use them as men and women, we can share our clothes also.
Absolutely, and a lot of the retail stores also like reward you for turning in clothes that you no longer wearing or using, and they'll give you discounts, and of course you can always donate stuff. So.
H&M is great about that, about conscious giving. In fact, if you bring in whatever items, they give you a 20% discount most of the time on that.
Oh, really? Yeah. Interesting. I didn't know that. So anyway, we just want to celebrate, want to give a shout out, and just know that today is an important day, or Sunday rather, but this whole weekend is kind of a whole week celebration, I would say. Just asking yourself, taking a look at your life, like how can you contribute, what can you do, and you can go on that website also. I think you can donate, you can get involved, whatever it is. I know there's a lot of shows also that people are beginning to really bring awareness around all this.
Yeah, it's all about creating a happy, healthy world that's, you know, easier and healthier to live in.
And doing that, you have to create a happy, healthy self. Like our next guest, Henlise, has done quite spectacularly. You know, I've watched her TED Talk on the power of seduction, and it totally sparked my mind. I thought, oh my gosh, this is time for me to embrace my purpose, embrace my femininity, give back to the world, and in doing that, feel like my best self. So she walked me through some of the somatic steps that she's kind of created, mastered, that brings this intelligence to her divine femininity. I'm so excited to share this with you. So stay tuned when we come back. A very special interview with a dear friend, Henlise. So from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa Land. If you ever were daring to be you and let the magic happen, you would seek Henlise. Welcome to the show. I am so excited. It's such an incredible honor to be able to have this conversation with you.
I'm so glad to be here.
You are such a light. So our good friend Jerry Lerner, special shout out to Uncle Jerry,
thank you, Jerry,
had sent me your TED Talk, and immediately I was mesmerized. Tell me a little bit about that for people who haven't seen it.
Well, the TED Talk was about 5 years ago, and he talked about the power of seduction in our everyday life. And what it was really all about is showing a different point of view of how we can see seduction from the point of view of Cuban culture, which is completely different than what we normally see in North America. Because in North America, we think seduction is manipulation and using people and robbing them of something and something negative most of the time. Not all the time, most of the time. But then you land inside of Cuban culture and you see how for them, it's a way to build up self-worth and pride and it's almost like a life skill for success. So I wanted to flip the point of view that we have and show that in other parts in the world, we can see something that we see as a negative as a plus, and it's really a power, right? The same as money. Some person takes money and does charity with it. Another one turns into a drug dealer. So when we talk about seduction, it's the same thing. It's just a power that we can use in a good way. Like I can seduce my partner, I can create magic and desire in a relationship, or I can turn that into a negative thing where I'm using seduction to get something out of a person.
And the world is craving this. Over 8 million views on that one TED Talk alone.
Yeah.
There is magic happening there, and you embrace it. You're embracing it now. One of the most elegant women I have ever met.
Well, thank you.
It's really interesting, though, because it's something that I'm definitely seeking as I get older, to embrace my femininity. Mm-hmm. And I know the TED Talk was just a firework. That was the spark to your study of the somatic elements. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that.
So the power of somatic intelligence are basically about 5 elements that I discovered from doing work in Cuba over the last 13 years. So it's really like taking a time machine back and then taking a time machine back here, constantly back and forth, because Cuba got stuck 50 or 60 years ago. and there's still no internet on phones, and there's no internet at home, and there's no advertising anywhere. You're talking about a place where there's no advertising on TV, nothing on radio, nothing on the streets. It's like, it's clean. So your body image is formed out of what you feel and what other people make you feel, but not out of a fake image that someone gave you that you should be. And when you come to a place that's sealed like that in time, it's really an opportunity to see what we did great as a human race and what we really messed up. Because you see the results of the decisions that we've made, and you see how it used to be, and you see what turned out better, and we see what we lost that affects our happiness and satisfaction in life. And that's what I've been studying for the last 13 years, is trying to understand what is it in Cuba. They come in the streets and you walk, and it's not because you're on vacation. I'm going for 13 years now, and you feel love. And you feel a certain magic, and you go like, what is that magic that never ends? So I started investigating, and I found 5 elements, which I showed you before. So the 5 elements of somatic intelligence. Somatic meaning soma, body. So emotional intelligence taught through the body. And we've got elegance, intention, tempo, sabrosura, and the mystery.
What is sabrosura?
You went straight for the kill.
I went straight for it.
You went straight for the sabrosura. So the sabrosura is the element of love. And it's the sensuality that's inside each and every one of us, that when it gets released in a body, physical self-love gets released, and we release really dopamine and endorphin in the body that create a natural high. And there's a form for men, and there's a form for women. And it's one of the biggest secrets that's kept still in Cuba.
Now, when you're doing this with your hands, what is that for? What are you exactly evoking?
Well, that's a really good question. So when I'm doing this, it looks really easy when I do this, right? But in reality, there are a couple of things here. One is that to move this softly like water, I need to really open up the heart and not block anything. So I need to work through the things that prevent me from being this soft and feminine and vulnerable.
Now you're going straight for
the heart, all the way deep into what really matters, right?
Yeah.
Breathe. And then the other part of it is, if I look at my hands right now as a woman, and I start to think, oh, my fingers are so ugly and they're fat, or I don't like the way the nails look, so that's the way my hands move. But if I look at them and I go like, that's the most gorgeous thing that I've ever seen in my life, it changes the way I move. And that tells you about how we feel about ourselves and how that affects what we're experiencing in life.
I'm wondering though, how do you believe that? Because as a woman, and I'm looking at my hand, instantly I notice the imperfections first, as you mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, my nails could be done. Oh, my veins. Am I getting sunspots? How do I trick myself? Is it a trick to think that this is really the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen?
No, it's not. It's about self-love. So it's not about being perfect. This is part of the problem, is because we see in the media constantly images of perfect women who are photoshopped, and we think that we need to look like that, which is unrealistic to begin with. There was a study that was done that discovered that only 4% of women today consider themselves beautiful. 4%. Do you get how distorted that is?
Is that worldwide, or is that a cultural thing?
Worldwide. Only 4% of women consider themselves beautiful. So we're projecting all these images and stuff, and women are so busy feeling like something is flawed with them. And what are we missing in the meantime? Loving ourselves. Can I change what is not perfect about me, and why should I even care? Like, if I'm in an environment like Cuba where I walk around and men just go like, oh my God, like they tell you in the street, hermosa, linda, preciosa, and everybody just tells you you're beautiful, and there's no advertising. Suddenly you go like, you feel the most beautiful that you've ever seen. You go like, oh, I am absolutely gorgeous. Just keep coming. Keep telling me that I'm so.
I'll have more, please.
Yeah, the battery just goes like, whoop. And it's not just for women. It's also for men. Like, men will walk on the street and a woman would look at them like, you're handsome. And they're not saying anything. They're just looking at them like,
Well, the flirting is part of the elements, right?
Yeah.
Besides the self-love.
Yes.
What is it, and when you say the no that turns to a maybe, that turns to a yes?
So we talked about a little bit about the sabrosura and the element of love. Now you're talking about the mystery. And the mystery is always the one that everybody has the most difficult time with, because it's got also sexual energy in it. And with the Me Too movement and, you know, sexual harassment, people are scared of that energy. But we can't really lock down sexual energy, because it links into our vitality. And when we lose too much sexual energy, people actually die earlier. In an earlier age. So you can't really lock down sexual energy completely and put it into a cage. The no, that means a maybe. When we think about flirting, right? What is that? It's that I say, no, but I'm really saying yes, like maybe.
Your eyes were saying
right?
it the whole time.
I'm not saying no, and I'm shutting it down. It's like I'm going like, no, but I left a door for a maybe. And that's what flirting is about. Flirting is about, we see something and then we get playful. So we show that we're interested. Yes.
Yes, okay.
So we show that we're interested, but without giving it, because we want that feeling like someone's coming after us, right? In the world of today, where everything is so instant, where it's like I go in an app and I swipe and then it's like this and then it's a booty call and da-da-da. What is missing? What is missing is the romance. What is missing is that feeling of worth, like a man is interested in you and he's going to chase you and chase you and chase you till he gets you. Not I swiped and now you're going to come and see me and then I'll ask you to sleep with me at night. We want that classiness back. We want that flirting, the old school flirting. We want to feel good.
And I want to feel elegant.
Yes.
And that's one of the dials, right?
So we talked a little bit about the mystery, which is that element of playfulness. And now we've got the element of elegance, which is linked to our confidence. So elegance is not about what we're wearing, but about the possession of ourselves. So it's about the quietness of ourselves, the possession of ourselves. It's about the being. So nowadays we tend to talk too much and think too much, but not be enough in our body and feel enough. So if I say to you, for example, I like that. And
Tell me more.
And I stay there with the feeling, that has a stronger impact than I'm saying, wow, I love that. So you know what? That's amazing. And I would love also this. And like, that's so, I just filled it with so many words, but I didn't let that experience exist. But if I just go like, wow, that is amazing.
There was something very powerful in your silence when you do that.
Right. So that's the being. And the elegance has more to it, because if we think of past generations used to be very elegant and they're very here, up in the chest, right? Like
I feel like very Queen of England.
Right, but it doesn't need to be Queen of England in the sense of like very cold and sealed and no emotion, but there's something very elegant in that gives me emotional sturdiness. So if I want to show the sabrosura, for example, which makes me very soft and very feminine and very vulnerable and approachable, I don't want to just be like, hey, right? It's too open. I want to be up here, elegant, where I still got my power and I can show that and be approachable, but it's here. And there's also elegance for men, and it makes them sexier because we go like,
What does here feel like?
It feels like it's up. Like imagine that you were basically getting every vertebra to like stretch up, 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 so that almost like someone pulled you from up here while your chest is open and you hold this here and you're up here. You look so elegant now.
Thank you. I have a great teacher.
So here, you know, Amy Cuddy spoke in her TED Talk. She's a Harvard professor, and she talked about power poses. And she talked about the fact that when you're in a power pose, which would be like a woman, a Wonder Woman, a Superman kind of pose, it changes the chemistry in the body in 2 minutes, which changes the behavior, which changes the results. That's a fact now. She did research to discover that. Elegance is a power pose. So whether you do it sitting or standing, like within 2 minutes, you'll feel more powerful. So that's a way for us, for example, to when we're going on dates and when we're going towards meetings, or we're in front of our partner and we want to talk about something and we're shaky about it and we feel that ramble inside and we're uncomfortable, and I can come with elegance. And now I've got the being, right? It gives me emotional sturdiness.
I love that you can use your body to almost flip that switch in your mind. Because so many times if I'm nervous or I'm anxious and I want to just sit back and kind of curl my shoulders in, and I don't want somebody to talk to me because I'm feeling in my head, you know, all those things, my body is telling my head what to think and vice versa. But if I sit like this.
Right, so it goes both ways, and that point that you just brought up is super important, because when we have negative thoughts and feelings, what happens, like what you just demonstrated, we tend to curl in, and then we fall down, and then we feel uncomfortable, but we're changing the chemistry in the body right now. So if I'm feeling that badly and I change the body, I can also affect my thoughts and feelings, because it goes the other way around. So the way we move is the way we live life. So when we change the way we move, we also change the way we live life.
Move with intention.
Move with intention. Moving us to the next intention.
Exactly.
I love your little switches.
Yeah, the next element.
So we were at elegance and we talked about confidence, and now we've got the element of intention. And this is linked to, basically, so intention. We've got intention right here, linking us to meaning and drive and purpose. So we have the axis of being and elegance and the possession of ourselves and the quietness of being ourselves. But if I'm just here, then what is happening?
Nothing.
Exactly. Because the doing is the axis of forward, of action. So when I want to be just being, I'm just here and I can just contain and be there for you or whatever it is. But when I want to start doing, I need to get intentional. And the body has to go in, right? And a lot of people, I'm not going to get up here, but a lot of people, when they stand, tend to take the weight on their heels, and then the hips go a little in, and then the back goes back. So if I'm like sitting now, and I'm even just talking to you, and I'm leaning back, what am I giving you like as a feeling?
I feel like you're setting yourself back. I don't feel like there is intention at all. I feel very disconnected.
Right. So it's like I'm almost like rejecting a little bit, and I'm kind of going like standoffish, right? That's what the body says. But if I'm now, let's say, going like,
lean in.
What does that communicate right now?
Power, intention, purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I don't have to be here. I can also be here, but it could be even as small as I'm here or I'm here. And that changes the chemistry again in the body, and that already gives me a feeling like a drive and purpose, like I'm more engaged. So these elements are really important for getting us there because they make us more powerful to do what we want to do. So intention and purpose and drive forward. And by the way, these two axes, the up and the depth, work like a yin and the yang. So it's like if I'm just going like boom towards something, that becomes very aggressive. Right? We see people that are just so intentional at this, and they go like, whoa, I don't like their energy. They're too aggressive. When you're combining it with that energy of up and elegance and intention, it balances each other out. And also physically, if you're just going forward, you're going to fall. You have to keep up at the same time and forward. So it's the same thing with emotionally, right? Is that we've got to find the balance between the being and the doing.
We've got to get dialed in.
Dialed
in. When I look at this graph, that's how I am visualizing this, as dials. So I can turn it a little more this, a little less that.
Right.
Which is all about tempo, right?
Right. So the tempo, I'm looking at the right one. So the tempo is the element of enjoyment. And this one is a super important one because we start as kids and we have so much fun, right? The only thing we want to do is play. Give us playtime, great. No, we start crying.
Yes.
Play is the only thing that matters. Having fun. And then as we grow, and we grow through adulthood and everything, we get to a point where there's a lot of responsibility, whether it's work, it's kids, it's relationship, whatever it is. And a lot of people get addicted to the pace of the race. So it's like, I'll finish this and this and this and this and this, and then I'll have fun. But as you're going through that, your body gets addicted to that rhythm. And the rhythm of enjoyment means that there's enjoyment throughout the day. Could be a small thing. I might drive in the car and go like, oh, that was a beautiful flower. Or hear the bird and go like, that was nice. Or listen to a song and enjoy it. But if we're in that rhythm of constantly this and this and this, and the song is this, and that annoyed me, and who cares about this, then we're missing life, and eventually everybody dies. So the rhythm of enjoyment means that our body has to be in a place where it enjoys. And actually, when we learn how to move with the body through enjoyment, it releases dopamine and endorphin in the body and creates a natural high. So think of how in the past we used to move. So if a woman, for example, I'm going to take a woman because it's easier for me, but it's the same for men, right? So if a woman moved, how did women in the 60s move? They were like, what do you need? And it's like, yes, let me take that. And it was soft and it was feminine. Everything was on curves. And that released dopamine and endorphin in the body. What do we do now? What do you need? What? No.
Over here, honk the horn. Yeah.
Right. We're sharp. So the way we moved used to release what we needed in a natural way through the tempo and through the sabrosura. and created that natural high for us. But as we got faster and more effective and more productive, which is what we wanted, we also started losing elements that affect our happiness and satisfaction and cause us stress and anxiety and depression and sickness and all those things that we're trying to now fix.
It's incredible to visualize these 5 somatic elements, but there are 3 keys to those, right? To unlocking those. What are they?
Okay, so this is really about our true nature. And when we're in true nature, we're in our balanced state, where everything is at the right place. Like, think about it like an optimal way of life for us, where I'm just right. There's no too much or too little of anything. Now, each one of these has a knob with a plus and a minus. And what dictates the amount is that it's not generic for everybody. It's personally for me, it's personally for you, and for anybody else. And it's based on these 3 things: the life stage, the cultural identity, and the self-identity. So the life stage has to do with what age I'm in. Am I meeting this in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, so on? And what is going on in my life? Am I breaking through a relationship right now and it's affecting who I am? Or am I really flourishing in my career right now? I'm going to meet these in a whole other way. This is cultural identity. So we talked before, for example, that you're American, but you lived in Europe. So in Europe, you met a lot more elegance. So that changes how you meet these elements. If you were just American, then you wouldn't have understood this the same way after living in Europe. And as I was saying to you before, if I say, you know, Brazilian, you take the mystery, not a problem, right? But you put a British woman here, and it's not exactly the element that's necessarily the strongest for her. She might feel more comfortable with the elegance. But then some people might say, isn't that a generalization? Isn't that unfair? But if we think about it, if I take now that British woman and she has Brazilian parents, then all of this changes, which takes us to self-identity. So self-identity has to do with the values that we have at home. It has to do with how much love I got at home, my personality, am I a man, am I a woman, what's my religion. So these are the things that really affect the amount for us. We can even look at cultural identity and analyze a culture through that. So as I was asking before, what's the strongest element for the US right now? If we look at
intention,
right? So everything's so intentional. We got to achieve this, and we got to do this, and we've got our goals. There's nothing wrong with having a super strong intention where it's at 100%. The problem is when we suddenly turn some of the other elements down that balance intention. So what got hurt in the US lately?
The elegance, the sabrosura, maybe.
So if we think of Obama was very elegant in his being. And that was part of what people loved about him, right? So elegance is going down. And then you have the sabrosura, so there was something more soft and more contained and, you know, quietness and all that. So these 2 elements are starting to go down. And then intention becomes too much because it's at 100% and the other elements are going down. Then something is out of balance.
So if somebody wants to learn more about this and how to find that balance in their life, how can they work with you? How can they get more information?
Well, they can do a couple of things. One of it is what I created are basically retreats. And the retreats, each element has a retreat. And they're in different places in the world. So there's the power of the sabrosura for women in Cuba. And there's the power of enjoyment in Marrakesh in Morocco. And there's going to be the power of intention in Israel. And there's going to be the power of our mystery probably in Brazil. So we've got different programs. There's one program just for women and one just for men, and then 3 other ones that are for men and for women. And we need to calibrate all elements. So it's really for people an opportunity to like go through that at their own pace and pick that up. They can also work with me by doing coaching with me. I also do long distance coaching. People can invite me to do keynote speeches, workshops at organizations, really the works.
You're based in Israel. It's such an honor to have you here in Los Angeles. You were just having an interview with Lewis Howes, right?
Yes, Lewis is amazing from the School of Greatness, and I flew exactly for that. And then you guys invited me, which I was so happy about right at the last minute before I fly tonight. Super lucky. Yeah, I did the School of Greatness interview, and that was really amazing because I think there's something so amazing about what Lewis is doing, trying to teach people. What he says are the skills that he wished that he was being taught at school. So he started the School of Greatness, and he's inviting different experts from around the world to talk about their expertise. And he really loved, you know, the power of somatic intelligence because there's really nothing like it in the world. So I was really honored to be on his podcast.
Well, I'm very honored to have this conversation with you. Thank you for enlightening me with the somatic elements, for cueing me into maybe a little more magic in my femininity, and maybe I'll just see you in Havana.
Oh, Havana, una na.
Una na. Thank you so much, Hen. We'll be back with more on Good Morning LaLa Land. Stay tuned.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa Land. We are so excited because we have Vicki and Mickey Popick, the creators and founders of Plantogram, the only gift that keeps on giving.
And we have some plants.
Yeah, we have
our friends.
It's amazing how happy these trees make me. They bring so much life. Thank you for that.
You
Welcome.
are most welcome.
A lot of energy in these plants.
Lots of energy. We've got
Bringing
some serious
positivity.
good juju.
Exactly.
Right there.
Absolutely. You know, I find it so fascinating. You have a background in finance. You used to work at a Fortune 500 company. Threw that to the wind.
Well, this was a hobby of ours for a long time, and you know, we decided let's see if we could make it into a business. And again, we love being around the trees, and now we get to do this all day, which is amazing.
How has life changed for you in doing that?
Dramatically. I mean, we believe that, you know, if you do something, you got to do something you love all the time. And this was a hobby for a long time. We loved planting trees. So we love growing all. We have about 250 types of trees.
We're
in our own home.
100% vegetarian, so we basically eat what we grow.
Wow,
as
love
well.
that. I love that. And you have two children.
Two children.
And you live in Orlando.
In
Correct.
And then
Florida.
you grow these trees, and now you ship them
Worldwide.
worldwide. Amazing, you guys.
And
it's a gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yeah, and again, we have about 200 types of them, so there's something for everybody. And you know, like these, for example, this dwarf avocado tree, it can be container grown. So if you live in an apartment or if you have a little patio, put it in a decent sized container, and it'll make fruit for you in a container.
Wow.
See, like this one's already got little avocados on it. That one has a little bit of
They're
mangoes.
shipped in their containers, so they're in a container right now, ready to go.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they have a big impact because they come in a nice, pretty box. You know, some of the boxes are up to 5 feet tall, so it's a big impact gift as well.
And you do have one of the largest selections of rare fruit trees in
definitely.
the entire world. I mean, there is fruit that you can't get anywhere else in the U.S. that we can get in your backyard.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have all kinds of stuff from Asia, Africa.
Exactly.
You know, miracle fruit, achacha, which is a new one that we have that's very popular. From
Achacha?
Oh yeah, it's a new one. Well, new to the U.S. but very popular from South America. That's been very popular with us lately. And, you know, the classics: mangoes, avocados, lychees. So something for everybody.
Different types of mangoes.
Oh, yeah.
This one's a cotton candy mango.
Cotton candy.
Cotton candy mango.
I love anything cotton candy flavored.
Exactly.
Mango.
Exactly.
It's healthy. I don't have to
And
follow
you
any
said
guilt.
there's trees that have lemons and limes and all kinds
That's a citrus. That's citrus. We unfortunately don't do citrus,
But you can get one.
You can get one. Yeah, you
Okay,
can get them.
got
There's
it.
so many trees
So
that
they
are
have
out
multiple grafts, so you can get like a lemon, lime, orange, tangerine,
all in
tangelo,
one tree.
All on
all grafted on one
one
tree.
tree.
So and they kind of fruit throughout the
Amazing.
seasons, which is really cool.
So what's your favorite?
My favorite. Oh my God, it would have to be.
Tough one.
That's really tough. I'm gonna go between lychee and I'm gonna go between a miracle fruit. I'll be honest with you
What's a
because
miracle
those two
fruit?
are like really good. So miracle fruit, one little red berry. It's a tree that produces these beautiful red berries. One red berry. That's all it takes. You eat that, pop it in your mouth, and it changes the entire flavor, like sweet flavors. You're gonna get sweet flavor. So it blocks the receptors in your tongue to where when you're eating anything, you can eat an orange, you can eat anything that was sour,
lemon,
lime.
It has an enzyme that coats the
It'll
chunk.
taste like fresh lemonade.
Wow.
Without having to put sugar on
So
it.
anything that has a little acidity will taste very sweet. So like salsa will taste sweet. Orange juice tastes like you put about a 10-pound bag of sugar in it. I mean, it makes anything that was a little tart or acidic taste very sweet for up to about 1.5, maybe sometimes up to 2 hours, depending on
about.
the
That
effect.
is a miracle. Why have we never heard of this before?
Well, I mean, it's from West Africa, so it was getting a lot more popularity now in the U.S. Even the things that are naturally, like strawberries, for example, you can add sugar, but you can't take away the natural tartness. So if you eat a miracle fruit first, pineapples and strawberries taste heavenly. I mean, they just taste amazing.
I have some pretty bitter people in my life. Can I get like a fire hose full of it and just spray them down, eat them right up? That'd be ideal.
Here, eat this
Yes.
here. Come back.
Exactly.
5 minutes.
Exactly. I'll be ready then.
I know there's some other fruit from India too that you're bringing over to the U.S.
Well, amla is another one, or gooseberry. Some people call it amla, some people call it gooseberry.
Very good for you.
Medicinal wise.
Medicinal
what
wise.
does it do?
It has all kind of properties. People use it for their hair, they use it for blood cleansing. It's a sour fruit though, so the fruit itself is not like a lychee or mango that's naturally sweet. It's actually very tart, very sour, but it has a lot of medicinal purposes.
Neem's another one.
Neem.
Neem. My mom, we gave her a neem tree because she's been telling me, she goes, I need
She
a
grew
neem.
up with
I
it.
grew up with neem. My parents are from South America, and so she grew up with all this stuff, and she says, when you have neem, you have to let me know. So we gave her a neem tree. I'm like, Mom, what do you do with this thing? So she goes, I eat the leaves.
And it's
She
very
eat
bitter.
the leaves. Do you know how bitter that? She says, I know that. I'm going to eat the leaves because I'm going to purify my blood. I know it's good for me.
And there's actually a book that they call it in Africa and Asia, they call it the medicine tree of the village, the neem tree. So there's the book actually out. I think it says the 1,000 uses of neem.
You can use it. I think it's also
for detox,
a natural
to
detox.
clean the
It's also a
skin,
natural
and-
mosquito repellent.
Wow, we got to talk.
Pesticide too,
So many people that come in and have so many great products, and what's so cool is that everything's really going organic.
Yeah.
It's going into all these oils that are incredible for your skin. So I'm sure you guys have
Turmeric.
so many.
Turmeric. We've got things for the chef in your life. We've
You
got
do.
cooking spices, fresh
Cinnamons,
turmeric.
allspice,
Have you
vanilla
ever
bean.
tried the turmeric latte? What are they called?
golden milk.
Golden milk, right? Fresh turmeric out of hand. It's beautiful plant.
And the turmerics are nice because they're small plants. You can keep them in a little container on the kitchen top. You don't
What?
they don't need a lot of space.
This is how Michigan I am right now. I didn't even know turmeric was a plant. I thought it was a powder. I'm like, obviously somebody muddled this for something, but I never even knew it was a plant.
And real easy going. I mean, you plant it in a little container.
Right.
You take out the roots as you need them. And again, you have to use gloves because they are
they
very
will
strong.
stain your fingers.
Very high in
It's
antioxidants.
used in our Indian customs. It's used to when you're getting married. It's supposed to cleanse you and have you looking beautiful
Like a
for the day.
turmeric paste
yeah,
they
I
apply
know.
to the bride.
We both
And,
got.
And then
So
don't-
you
I was
guys-
gonna say, it's
are you
working.
guys-
Yeah.
are you
It'll be working.
Also, growing the hemp and the cannabis.
Not
No,
yet.
Well, not yet. But another popular leaf that you can use is called the soursop or wanabana. They make a tea. I mean, it has a fruit called soursop. It's a very tropical.
It's a really good tasting fruit. Looks funny.
got little spikes
like
on it.
spikes on it. Like you don't want to touch, but it doesn't bother you. But you slice it open and it's white inside with black seeds. But you eat it. It's really good.
I think you guys should do a book or do some kind of a vlog around all this stuff because you're
That's a good
so knowledgeable. And I mean, I didn't even know. I don't think anyone really knows how much interest. I mean, there's just so many interesting stories about all these different products.
Yeah, and they're getting more popular. Like the soursop,
They
for example,
are.
you just take a couple of leaves, they make a tea. So they boil about 3 or 4 leaves with maybe like 8 or 10 ounces of water. You make a tea. It's very calming, very soothing. Even tea plants. People like coffee. We have coffee plants as well. You can get
With
fresh
coffee on it,
beans.
coffee
Sorry.
berries.
I'm
yeah.
sorry. You have a coffee plant?
Yes, and if you ever tried the coffee bean, the fresh red one, they taste amazing. I mean, so they have a little sweetness to them. So you can eat the
So
fruit, the
inside of
pulp.
the fruit is the coffee
Seed.
bean.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
sweet.
We will take 10 of those immediately. Yes.
And they taste the fruit tastes amazing. And all you got to do is take the little bean, put it
Yeah.
outside to dry, or put it in the oven to dry,
Roast
and then you roast them,
you
and
got
that's
fresh
fresh
coffee.
coffee.
I feel almost silly for the lack of knowledge I have around where this food and fruit is actually coming from. I mean, the coffee, the turmeric. What would you say to the people who maybe feel like this isn't approachable? Like, if you sent me a coffee plant, I would be so excited. I wouldn't have a clue what to do with it.
Well, most of the stuff we ship is pretty mature, as you can see from these trees. So we put them at a point where they're pretty much foolproof. So they're at the point where they're mature, they're very established. So all you got to do when you send them as a gift, They get the plant, they open them up, and they just need water.
Right.
So, you know, and again, they can be planted in the ground or in a container. So a lot of times, you know, because space now is an issue because everybody's going vertical. So, I mean, you know, you can put them in a patio. Even in, we have clients in New York, Chicago, Canada.
Clients in New York on the cold East Coast. They're growing this. They're
Mangoes
getting fresh
indoors.
fruit, mangoes indoors.
But this is really important because, and today's world, you know, people feel divided. They feel lonely, and from a psychic perspective, from a spiritual perspective, a lot of it's because we've gotten detached from Mother. We've gotten detached from our roots of understanding our oneness, understanding how it's all, you know, abundant. And this is so important, you guys. If I didn't, you know, going into this talk with you, having this interview, I just really feel like this is really important work. It's really important work you guys are doing.
The plants do give a lot of feedback too. So what you put in is what you get out. They, you know, they like happiness, they like positivity. So, you know, the more time you spend with them, the more watering. And again, this.
I'm giving this plant a lap dance for Earth Day. You know, more of this. This is I know they give me so much, so I better give back.
But if you, the more you talk to a plant, the better it grows.
Definitely.
I feel it's true. Well, I can definitely say it's true. We have a client that is in Florida. When we used to, you know, do this stuff locally, I mean, now we ship it everywhere. But when we just started, I remember he wanted to, you know, he redid his entire backyard. It's like a tropical oasis out there. So when we gave him these trees, they were like, what, how tall were they?
They were probably like 3 or 4 feet.
3 or 4 feet tall. When we went back like a month or 2 months later to see him, they're like fully grown. I'm like, what did you do to them? He says, oh, I just come out here, I'd hand water them, and I sing to them, and I tell them how beautiful they look, and they grow. I mean, it's like,
it's so interesting. It is. It's so amazing, and the benefit isn't just for the tree, and it's also for the people. One of the first studies I remember reading in graduate school was about. They basically took plants and they gave them to folks that were in retirement homes, and they found that the people that were given plants, and all they had to do was simply water them. They lived longer.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Even there was a lot of studies say the microbes in the soil are really good. So when you get out, you know, do some gardening, it's very therapeutic. I mean, being outside, you know, being with nature, very therapeutic for the recipient. And again, the fruits are very healthy and good for everybody.
So do you have to cut them back? How do you?
Well, depending. So when they go in the ground, you know, if you have space, you can let them get a little large. If you have space is an issue, you can always trim them back, keep them very compact. And then the other option is container growing them. So if you grow them in a larger container, they can be grown indoors, they can be grown on a patio.
So if I had a container like this,
there you go.
at Focus TV, could I just put this tree right in here and keep it right here on set?
Definitely. So they can go in a large container like this. And again, we have many plants that make fruit year round, like the mulberry tree you guys were shown earlier. It's an everbearing, so maybe 2 or 3 months up throughout the spring and summer, it'll constantly make fruit. So very productive for the amount of space that it occupies.
Wow. That's water every day or what?
Well, we suggest if it's indoors, less water. You know, so we suggest when the soil feels dry to the touch, about 2 inches.
That's what I kind of tell people. You know, if you're growing it indoor and you're feeling that soil, don't be afraid to touch the soil. It's just soil. It's soap and water. You can wash your hands, but touch that soil. See if it's really dry. Just give it some water.
And if you're container growing, you definitely don't want to have overwatering. That's the number one problem. So well-draining soil on any of these plants, and they do amazing.
So if you are growing in a container, how do you prevent from overwatering? Do you have to have some kind of drainage?
Yes, I mean, so most people have like a dish or a bowl that goes underneath the plant that will take the drainage. But what we suggest is using soil that drains very well. So
well-drained soil. You can get it, not a potting mix, but a well-drained soil. They have it at your local hardware store. Or you can go pick up a bag. You just tell them, I'm growing a fruit tree and I need well-drained soil, because they don't like their feet to stay wet.
So you don't want to drown them. So water is good, but too much water is bad. So you want to kind of keep them in between.
Is there a place where people can get this information on your site when they get their mulberry tree or their cotton candy mango, where they can see how to take care of it?
Definitely.
Absolutely. On our website. We also have, I think, a few YouTube videos showing you how to plant them in a container, in the ground. Some of our clients that receive it love making videos. Oh my goodness, the videos are amazing that they make.
Speaking of videos, DJ Khaled's a big fan, right?
Yes.
Yes. Customer.
He likes the persimmon.
He loves the persimmon. It's one of his favorite fruits.
And as well as jasmine.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I heard you had me at persimmon.
Yeah. So. Persimmon's amazing, and you know, very easy going tree. They make fruit like the ones we have right now, probably about 4 or 5 feet tall, flowering already. So nice gift. You know, you send it to somebody, they're getting fruit immediately off of them, and easy to go, very easy going.
It's such an interesting conversation. You've been seen in Forbes, Huffington Post, Glamour, Good Morning LaLa Land, Hallmark Channel. People are so excited about what you're doing.
Well, it's a happy gift.
I'm excited that they're excited. You know, it just makes me want to keep doing more and putting more out there, more positivity, more love. The love I give these trees when you receive them, they're going to give you love.
And I keep telling them we ship happiness. Because
When
the recipient gets this, they open the box, you know, they're like, wow, this is so cool. Like, you know, for chefs, we have cinnamon trees or allspice, or, you know, people like, again, caffeine, you know, tea plants, coffee plants. We have another one called the yerba mate.
Yerba mate.
I love that one.
It's become increasingly popular.
It is. We call it the Pope juice because when he was seen drinking,
he likes. Well, from what we understand, he's very,
he's very
one of his favorite
into
drinks.
that.
So, do you have a tree that's an aphrodisiac?
Passion fruit is again, depending on who you ask, but passion fruit is supposed to be one of them.
Passion fruit.
Yeah, the name suggests, yeah. And they're awesome because they make fruit throughout the spring and summer. So it's a little vine. Well, it can stay into a little vine, but it makes tons of these little passion fruit, and they taste amazing as well.
Beautiful flowers, I'll tell you that. When that flower opens up, it's like I could sit there and look at that flower. It's just so pretty.
Well, and they're host for butterflies as well. So when you plant a passion fruit, you get butterflies all throughout your garden. So and it's weird. So it's kind of cool. You bring the butterflies to get
I want
good
the
fruit.
passion fruit.
Yes.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. I have a very special meeting with the two world-renowned matchmakers, Janice and Carly Spindell, tomorrow. They're going to actually be here on the show. So in order to do that, maybe I'll have to incorporate a little passion fruit in my life.
Yeah.
Up your game on that.
Yeah.
I love that. So what's on the agenda? You are here in Los Angeles. You're here for another event as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
We support Nancy Davis Race to Race every single year. Race to Race MS is, you know, it's very dear to us. I didn't know much about it until I started attending the events and talking to people. You look at them, they look fine, but you don't understand exactly what they're going through until they really, until we sit at that table and we talk to them one-on-one. And I just look at it and I said, oh my God, I have to figure out how I can help. How can we help, you know, find a cure for this? Let's get rid of it. Let's not talk of MS anymore. Let's just, that's so last year. Let's just, you know, move on. It is. Let's just move on with this.
I love that.
You know, so this year, it's the 25th anniversary. We've provided 2 beautiful orchards up for silent auction. So I guess if you guys are in the area, it'd be so cool.
That's
Thank you so much for all your work, all your divine work, because it really is Mother Nature. Without Mother Nature, we have nothing. And I'm so intrigued. I want to plant some trees, and I want trees in my house and my kitchen and everything.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Thank you guys for having us. It's been amazing being here.
This was so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you guys.
Thanks for joining. Please like, share, and comment, you guys. We stream every day live, 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time on Connect TV. We've got a podcast now. We're on Roku, Apple TV, all the social medias. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And please treat Mother Nature how you want to be treated, because we are one. Have
if you want to send a gift that keeps on giving, make sure you visit Vicki and Mickey at Plantograms. We'll see you tomorrow on Good Morning LaLa Land.
Thanks so much.